You learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got to start up on the blocks. So I need you to start coming to start up on the blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally, and we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow. Send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Rechard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Welcome to Startup on the Block, Startup Founder Best Practices. Every Thursday night. We've been here for almost 5 years now. Next week will be our 5th anniversary, and we're excited to help founders learn the best practices for building a startup. I'm going to give a little shout out to some of our partners and sponsors. Always appreciate the support that we get from partners and sponsors. So yeah, it's just a great way to move forward and touch more founders' lives out there as they're building their startup. And so we leverage all of these organizations to one way or another. But the good news is through all these partnerships, we have a bunch of tools that founders can use to build their startup. So there's definitely no shortage of tools or training material, just collaborating with all these other organizations, and also funders supportive of what we're doing with the founders as well. And we appreciate their support, from helping us purchase the training platforms to helping us do the Black Founder Innovation Summit. Just all kinds of support, and also just spreading the word about what we're doing and how we're trying to support founders all over the world. So we really appreciate that. And we have our sponsors also help us with our cohorts that we do. And so just want to encourage all of you all out there, if you have an existing business, or if you have a business idea, or if you have an idea for a new product, our Black Founders program, and we have cohort 6 starting next Tuesday. It's a class, but you get to work on your startup. The whole class is working on your startup idea. We had a demo day a couple of Thursdays ago. We had 4 founders pitch, but we had 3 of them that won $1,000. One was a founder with a new idea, and so she's going to get her a Florida corporation formed and get her $1,000. One was an existing company here in Florida, and one was a company that's going to establish a business here in Florida. So there's no excuse for not participating in the program. No matter where you are, all over the world, it's just a great opportunity to get access to these tools to stress test what you're doing. And here's some more details on that. We're going to have a demo day on September 11th, and 3 founders going to walk away with $1,000 each. So in less than 30 days, starting, participating, you had opportunity to win some money. And anybody who um, uh, the whole class is about getting prepared on how to pitch your business model. So even before this pitch competition, we're going to be starting our 90-day cohort where you're going to teach you how to sell, and I'll go over a little bit more of that stuff later. But the good thing there, we're going to be giving away $5,000 on that, and so the first prize on that is $2,500. Second prize is $1,500, and third prize is $1,000. So you can win anywhere from between the two programs, you can win anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500, and in the next 120 days to help you with your business idea. But that's that money is not really the whole deal, because what you learn is you can apply for other programs, and that may give you money or give you in-kind services. So it's just a great opportunity to kind of lay the foundation. So you actually learn how to pitch your business model. We've had a couple uh, preparation sessions over the last uh, couple of weeks, and had some good interaction with some new founders. So definitely excited about that. But if you have any doubt, I would say go ahead and register at apply.cocoainstitute.org, and there's no reason that anybody who wants to learn shouldn't apply. There's literally, you can think of excuses not to do it, but you're doing yourself a disservice. If you have a business, or if you have a business idea, it's or even if you're a nonprofit, we're willing to work with you on that as well. So definitely go ahead and sign up. So it's going to be a busy next 4 months, but that's what myself and the other coaches, we have almost a dozen lean stack coaches to kind of help you through the program. And so we have, let's just go and kind of show. But anyway, what we do at the Cocoa Institute is all these things here, and so if you're not taking advantage of it, shame on you, because we have the tools that we have the largest accumulation of tools that you can use, from all the tools in the lean stack, from the stress testing tools, and then in startup science, there's so many tools in there that are available for founders, and plus we've created our own tools to kind of fill some of the gap and support founders. So it's just a really great opportunity to kind of accelerate your startup growth. And so like I was saying, the Lean Stack, it's a platform that helps founders go through the different milestones that a founder has to reach with their startup. And so that's the key thing about that. So it's providing you the structure, the step-by-step approach to meet these milestones to gain traction with your startup. The startup science thing is more operational. You actually you actually learn the operations of your startup going through each phase of the startup. So Lean Stack is all about milestone. Startup science is all about the phases, and the co-founder OS, that's combining all the operational stuff about your business, including a CRM, all the financial stuff. So it's more about actually integrating some of the tools that actually help you run your business. And patent hacks, as you kind of innovate with your startup, that's what that's all about. Is knowing all the things about trademarks and and patents. And so all of this stuff is available to you. So we partner with Black Innovation Leaders of Florida for the patent hack stuff through the IP Launchpad. Cuckoo Institute is the innovation hub over here. So we're available, to assist you in all this neat IP, help you with that you're generating as well. And so, like I said before, I'll go through this. I don't know if we have any new people chiming in tonight, but it's all about getting through these different phases and milestones. So you kind of see overall you're going through this formation thing, then validation and growth, but you also have to think about it through these smaller stages here, and then you have to think about it through the milestones, and that's from Startup Commons and Startup Science. Like I said, it's all about the different phases, life cycle phases that your startup goes through, and they're starting to implement AI in their platform. So the kind of tools they have in there is, sizing your market, competition finder, all the stuff, and then they have perks in there, free things that you can get for your startup. They have grants in there that you can apply for. They have pitch competitions that you can apply for. It's just they have templates of legal type template things that you can use with your startup. So it's a comprehensive thing. So if you're a founder, and you're not sure about these different terms, and you literally learn all of that in that program, and you get access to that through our program as well. And our core program is the Lean Stack program, and it's all about these milestones, like I was telling you here. And so the 30-day program, the pitch competition that we're having on September 11th, it's actually you're pitching your business model. So you go through 4 workshops, and all the stuff you do each week is actually goes into your pitch. And so the neat thing is if you once you get access to Lean Stack, you can literally go in there and see the template for the pitch, and then you can look back through each workshop and actually see each week of training and actually see what you learned that actually goes into your pitch that unlocks these resources. Like I said, we had a demo day 2 weeks ago, and the founders that participated, after they got through pitching, we called them back up, and the judges one by one, and the judges gave them individual feedback, and some of the judges said they were even willing to help the founders. And so that's what the deal is. Now, one of the challenges we've been having with the founders is them not realizing they need to go through this orange part where you actually learning how to launch your product and how to sell your product. So this is one of the lessons that we've learned over the past 5 years, interviewing over 300 founders and having over a dozen demo days and so many pitch competitions, that founders have great products and services, but they don't know how to sell them. They don't know how to get them in the marketplace. So what good does it do you to build something so needed and don't know how to sell it? And that's been one of the big takeaways that we've learned. So I'll take a minute and kind of go through this slide, and it's just in order to explain what our 30-day program is and what our 90-day program. So the pink part is the 90-day program, and these first 2 columns, with these shaded dots here, are the 30-day. So week 1 of the 30-day program, you're doing these 2 things. You getting the stuff out of your head into a one-page business plan. That's what this thing is, a lean canvas. And then for each of your customer segments or variants that you have in your business plan, you actually break them into these different customer segments, because ultimately what you're trying to do when you see all these different, you're doing a business plan for each customer segment, what this is basically telling you. That's the way you can think of it. So instead of your 30-day business plan, you doing the 30-page business plan, you're doing a one-page business plan. That's what this is showing you. But ultimately, what you're trying to get to is figure out which customer segment that you should be concentrating on. So the first week of the thing is just breaking it out, a plan for each customer segment, and then stress testing each customer segment for desirability. So when you're looking at desirability, you're only looking at one particular customer segment, the problem that particular customer segment has, and what they're using now, and then what value that you're bringing to them. And that stress test is called the desirability stress test, and you create a why now elevator pitch, which ultimately goes into your business model story pitch at the end. So all of this stuff is very meaningful. And then the next test you do, the tool for that is the traction roadmap. I don't care what kind of startup you got. If you want help or if you need money, the people that want to help you, they want to know what kind of traction you have. And so one of the best things about the 30-day program, and by the way, this desirability test, you do that in the second week. And then in the third week of the program, you do your viability and feasibility test. And but the neat thing is that we help you with your pricing model and your metrics. The metrics are standard, so you don't have to worry about that. You learn exactly, what you need to do each month to make the money to reach whatever your goal is. And so, and whichever pricing model for a customer segment, if it's not sustainable or viable, you get rid of that customer segment. And then what you have left in that third week is you work on the feasibility of each one of those customer segments. Can you get that up and running in 90 days or so? So that's what the program. And then the last week you spend is getting all of the pulling all that together into a business model story pitch. And then so in September we're going to kick off the 90-day program. And this is just to be clear with everybody, what you're doing here is you're doing demand validation. So this first playbook here for the 30 days is called the business model design playbook. And then you shift to the demand validation. So you want to validate that for these customer segments that you have left here, you want to validate the demand for that. And the way you do that is pretty straightforward. You do what is called problem discovery interviews. You may think you know what the problem is that each customer has, but that's not the whole thing that's going to enable you to sell. What's going to enable you to sell, you're going to have to be able to get them to switch from what they're already doing to to the solution you have. So you have to understand what they're using now and what's broken about that. And the way you do that is through these problem discovery interviews. That's the key thing here. And so the first 2 weeks you get familiar with how to do these problem discovery interviews. Then the third and fourth weeks you actually go out and interview 10 to 15 people who have recently purchased something similar to what you are selling or intend to sell. And so you want to get somebody who recently switched or recently bought something in the last 90 days, because we have a set of questions that you ask them so you can understand why they switch, what triggered them to go actually looking for something else, and what did they try, and what are they still frustrated with. And by getting them to answer all these questions and digging into detail, then you have what you call is your customer forces and job to be done story. And this is what's going to help you in your marketing in the future. So once you do the third and the fourth week, once you complete that, you look and see where all those jobs to be done are falling into, in whichever customer segments those are. Then you do a 2 weeks of interviewing 10 to 15 more people, and it could be some of the same people that recently purchased, switched or purchased something. And then those, you do what is called a narrow match interview. But after that, you have all the information you need to package your solution in a way that that you can start going out. You do 2 weeks packaging your solution, so you have 2 weeks to do that, and then the next 2 weeks is you start putting together your offer to sell, and so that's what the deal is there. And then the next 2 weeks you improve your offer, so you're actually learning how to sell. If your offer is not converting at an 80% rate, then you have to back up and figure out what you did wrong back here. Because if you do all of these processes right that lead up to that, you're going to be able to have those sales conversions like you need. So at the end of the 90 days, your problem's gonna be well defined, and your so you're gonna be them validated, your customer segment and the problem that customer segment has, and you're gonna validate that your solution is actually something that they want, because you will have orders, and then you go out and build it. So the neat thing about that, now with all these coding tools, you can build something within 2 to 3 months. So that's the neat part about that. All right, so we get to tonight. So next week, like I said, is our anniversary, 5th-year anniversary. So when you think about doing this program, for the last 5 years, we missed one event in 5 years. So we've so over 240 some events that we've conducted, and we've interviewed hundreds of founders, and so we got a lot of insights from that. But in addition to that, we've had all these demo days, but the 12 demo days are a result of let's see. We're starting at 6, so we got 5 demo days that we did. 5 cohorts of the 30-day in the Black Founder program. We got another 4 that we did with the Blacks in Technology. So that's 9 30-day programs that we ran founders through. So we've seen founders actually working, building their startup. We talk to founders and through our things like we normally do here on Thursday night. I normally would be, interviewing a founder or ecosystem person and getting the insights from them. And so each one of us, and then we did 3 90-day cohorts, launch programs. And so we've learned a lot from that as well. And then even before we started doing these cohorts, we were doing pitch competitions. So we did 4 to 6 pitch competitions. It's been so long ago, I don't even remember how many we did. So, but we've seen a lot of founders doing hands-on work, and so all of that, we gained some insights from that. So, does anybody in the audience have any questions about, what can you imagine we've learned from working, all the coaches and myself and our team here? What can you imagine we've learned from dealing with taking founders through this many programs? And we've heard some of everything, and so it's been a rewarding experience, both for us and the founders. We'll say that. But what I found, there's a lot of smart people out there have developed excellent solutions and all kinds of stuff, but we're going to take a few minutes to kind of go through some of that stuff. like I said, feel free to ask questions if you like there. Let me get rid of this thing here. So yeah, so what I wanted to do tonight was just share, some of the things that and the insights that we got from that, and I actually leverage um, um, Notebook LM to create a video from the lessons, the 8 key insights we learned for that. So I want to show you that, and the bottom line is we try to leverage as many of these tools out there as we can to kind of help communicate stuff. And so let me put it over here. So this video I want to show you is I kind of summarized all the 8 insights that we learned over from interviewing all these founders and doing all these cohorts and all these mentoring sessions and you name it. Lots of hours interacting with founders and so listen to this video. It's about 7 minutes long. It sort of goes over some of the insights that we found.
So you have this dream, right, to launch a startup. And you've probably heard all about the playbook, that perfect set of rules for guaranteed success. But what happens when that nice, neat playbook smacks headfirst into messy, complicated reality? Well, we're going to dive into what over 300 founders told us about the huge gap between the official advice and the journey they actually live. So let's be real. What does it really take to succeed? Turns out the answer is way more complicated than just having a killer idea. It's about a fundamental mismatch, a gap that most founders don't even see until they're already falling right into it. All right, so first up, let's talk about this so-called startup playbook. We're calling it a myth for a reason. This is the conventional wisdom, the official map to treasure that you see everywhere. Accelerators, business books, you name it. And you know these rules by heart, I'm sure. They're like the greatest hits of startup advice. Obsess over the problem. Iterate constantly. Build your network. Master distribution. You know the drill. It all sounds so logical, so clean. On paper, it looks like a perfect step-by-step path to victory. And this quote right here, it really captures why the playbook is so tempting. I mean, fall in love with the customer's pain point. It makes perfect sense. Who can argue with that? This kind of solid, logical advice is exactly what makes the playbook feel so reliable, so true. Okay, so you just follow the rules, check all the boxes, and you win, right? Well, not so fast. This is where the research we're looking at uncovered something way more complex and, frankly, a lot more honest. The answer that came back from those 300-plus founders was a huge, resounding no. And the reason why? Well, that's the most important part of this whole story. It turns out the biggest barrier isn't a lack of talent or a bad idea. It's something the playbook completely, totally ignores. And that brings us to the first major insight we need to unpack. It's a hidden barrier that researchers call the capacity gap. This single idea gets right to the heart of why that playbook on its own just isn't enough. Now, this is really important, so listen close. This is not a skills gap. It's not about being smart enough or knowing the right steps. The capacity gap is the difference between knowing a recipe by heart and actually having any food in the fridge to cook with. It's a gap in your time, your money, and your raw emotional energy. It's an access gap. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, the playbook says obsess over the problem. But your reality screams back, I have a day job and 2 kids. I've got maybe 2 hours of brain power left. Or the playbook says, go build your community. And your reality says, I'm not plugged into those high-trust networks. Where do I even start? You see, every single piece of good advice gets hammered by the friction of real life. And we're not talking about little speed bumps here. Think of these as invisible anchors weighing founders down, crushing financial insecurity, caring for family members, not having access to healthcare, systemic bias, the constant mental health strain, and of course, pure, unadulterated burnout. These things drain a founder's tank long before their idea ever gets a fair shot. So closing that capacity gap is obviously a huge deal. But what's fascinating is that the research found another hidden barrier. Even if a founder has the time and the money, there's something else going on, something that separates a great story from a great, thriving business. And that brings us to our second key finding, the execution gap. This is all about what happens when theory slams into practice, and the pressure is on. You know, this insight didn't just come from asking people questions. That's where it started, sure, with those 300 interviews. But then the research shifted from just talking to doing. It moved into intensive design classes and high-stakes demo days where they could actually watch founders perform when everything was on the line. So what exactly is this execution gap? Well, picture a giant chasm. On one side is what a founder believes they know from reading a book. On the other side is what they can actually pull off when they're facing real pressure, total ambiguity, and sometimes some pretty harsh feedback. That chasm, that's the execution gap. Think of it like looking through two different lenses. The first lens, the interview, shows you a founder's belief. It's what they know in their head, the strategies they've planned, the stories they tell. But that second lens, the stress test, shows you their execution. It's what they can actually do in the real world when things get tough. And bridging that gap between believing and doing, man, that's everything. Here is a perfect concrete example. In an interview, a founder might say, "Oh yeah, community's great. It's a nice to have." But under pressure, it becomes painfully obvious that it's not a bonus. It's core infrastructure. It's as essential as your laptop or your internet connection. For a founder, especially a solo one, it is an absolute lifeline. So you take all these insights about the capacity gap, about the execution gap, and you realize they're all pointing in the exact same direction. They lead to a single unifying idea about what the real problem is that we need to be solving. So let's just lay it all out nice and simple. You've got the capacity gap, right? That's the distance between knowing what to do and having the resources to do it. That's an external, systemic barrier. Then you've got the execution gap. That's the distance between believing you can do it and actually doing it under pressure. That's an internal, performance-based barrier. And this all leads to one pretty powerful conclusion. The goal can't be just to write a better playbook. Teaching someone best practices is pretty much useless if we ignore the real-world context they're operating in. The real work, the important work, is to build an entire ecosystem that supports the whole founder. Not just their pitch deck, but their life, their capacity, their reality. So after all this, after uncovering these gaps, the question kind of shifts away from the founders in the study and right over to you. You've seen the chasm that exists between theory and practice, between belief and action. So the final question isn't for them anymore. It's for you. Now what will you execute? How will you bridge your own execution gap?
Cool. Yeah, that video definitely hits the nail on the head for explaining, the results of the last 5 years being on the front line, working with founders, interviewing founders, leading founders through the business model design training, uh, and also the 90-day launch program, and all the mentoring time we spent in coaching founders. It definitely was insightful to kind of learn all this stuff, and as a result, is we're actually building a platform to help resolve some of these issues, and so we'll be launching that shortly here. Alrighty, so next I'll go through a briefing I put together that was the basis of that video. And the neat thing about once you have information and leveraging, we can explain it in a certain way. I can explain it in a certain way, but it's interesting to see how when the AI gets hold to the information, how it synthesizes the information. And so thanks to Notebook LM, that we can take the results and create a video there that actually explains it pretty well. And I hope you um, saw the contrast between, actually interviewing and having founders as a guest on the Startup Founders Best Practices, and and then actually working with the founders on with their ideas, and so definitely was a neat contrast. And in addition to one of the things that the video doesn't highlight, we have a lot of founders out there that working, with broken, unsustainable business models, and so that's a kind of a uh, an issue there, and that's the reason for why we use the Lean Stack platform, is to help people stress test their business model. You can, and also when you actually go through a 90-day program, you go from guessing if your product or service is going to sell to knowing that your product or service will sell. And that's so it's all these things the founder has in their head, but when you actually have to apply the stuff, it's a different story. Now, I can tell you, it is challenging dealing with founders, so like I can tell founders this all day, and like even in some cases, brilliant founders, they with their technology and their product, but they got it out there, and you'll see in this thing here. I'll explain it again, but they make excuses for not learning how to sell the product or service. And literally, it doesn't do any good to do all this work and you don't end up making money, even though you've got a really neat solution, but you don't know how to get like I said, in the 90 days, when you create a product or service, or when you're building a product or service, it's about, and the innovation that you're doing, it has to be big enough to cause the person to switch from what they're already using to what you're building. And so that's why you do those problem discovery interviews, so you can learn what it takes to get the person to switch. This concept is not new. Customer forces has been around since the 50s. And so it's just now we have the tools that you as a founder can use to develop these customer forces models, these job to be done things, you leveraging the AI tools in the platform. So you do the interviews, and in seconds, the AI analyzes the interviews and creates the customer forces story and the jobs to be done story. And so you can spin your wheels all you want out there, thinking you understand what the problem is, but when you actually when it comes time to get the person to switch from what they're already using, even if it's nothing, that's where that 90-day program comes in. So yeah, and folks are proud of what they're building. They're proud of what they know, but the rubber has to meet the road. Is kind of what the point is so you can't take this stuff for granted. All this research, all these tools, all these things have been created because it's what's needed to be successful. And it doesn't care how smart you are. It's just you have to still be able to tactically do what's going on there. Now, so I used another AI tool with this. I took the results of the what we've learned over the last 2 days and had Gamma.ai build a presentation from it. And so it's a neat AI tool, and yeah, you definitely can use it to build a pitch deck as well. And so so basically leveraging all these AI tools to help communicate, get things more clear to you as a founder, to kind of move forward. So I'll go through this. So basically, there were, just to give you a little heads up, there were like 8 insights that we found from interviewing founders and working with them through these cohorts. And so we'll get into that. Let's see, get this going. Okay, so the video addressed this problem assessment thing. So definitely you have founders out there that that love their solution or their idea for a solution, and they want to go out and build it. But of course, the training and best practices teaches you to fall in love with the problem. And so the successful scalable startups, they actually learn, they do this problem discovery and understand this. They don't hire other people to find out what the problem is. The founder themselves interviews these potential customers and find out why they switched from whatever they were using to what they're currently using. And so you're literally arming yourself with the information there. And so, yeah, you may know the problem from your point of view, but when you actually talk to the person that's actually doing the different people that are doing the work and how they're doing it in their job as opposed to another person does it in their job, that's what that's all about. And this number 2 here, this kind of hurts. Like we had Takia on last week, and she's a project management expert, and a lot of us are perfectionists. We want to get everything right before we do so, and so that's not the way it works in the startup world. Work. It works when you do stuff, not trying to perfect things. So you have to do stuff. You like Takia said, you just have to get it done. And so when we take people through the business model design thing with their business and through the 90-day launch program, people and we just experienced this. So like the first thing you have to do in the first week of the business model design class is you have to get the stuff out of your head onto a lean canvas. And the instructions are clear. Spend 20 minutes after you go through read the training, spend 20 minutes doing that. And we have founders spending hours and hours trying to get it perfect instead of just doing what the instructions say. It's literally that simple. But if you learn how to keep doing experiments and stuff like that, and stop trying to get things perfect, you're going to be better off. And I know we've been brainwashed; everything has to be perfect, but that's not the way it works in the startup world. These communities and networks, those are are the enablers of success. And so the solo founder deal, it can work, but in most cases it doesn't work. You have to have community. People, you have to learn from other people. You can't learn, just totally learn everything from yourself. One of our biggest challenges is we haven't taken the time to find the right platform or build the right platform that allow our founders to collaborate more on an everyday basis. So we're definitely going to solve that problem as we go into our 6th year of startup founders best practice in our programs on working with founders. So these communities and networks, they literally are the key to success and moving faster. So now this go-to-market mastery, this is part of what I would say about this. If I got these brilliant founders out there, they're experts in their field, they built great product, but it's the product is sitting on the shelf because they don't know how to sell it. So you think just building the product, the solution, is going to automatically, people are gonna come, and so, but there's so many other things involved, in going from that rollout plan to the go-to-market strategy that you learn, in the 90-day program. But if you don't take time to go through these proven methods that's been used by tens of thousands of founders of products and services that you buy every day and apps that you use, you're fooling yourself. And then this mindset, yeah, mindset is everything, because until you get that right founder mindset, you're going to be, and you're going to struggle. So it's not about being the smartest or the most credentialed. It's actually, about following the processes that lead to success and the best practices. And so that's what we're trying to get people to see. And so all these mindsets that we grow up with that holds us back, we have to learn the startup successful mindsets. And so one of the things that came up in this whole thing too is people like to make excuses about life challenges, and those life, as long as you live, there are going to be challenges in life. And so if you want to move forward with your startup, you got to learn how to balance your time and get time to focus on and dedicate some time for you to move forward. So as we're starting cohort 6 next Tuesday, I sent out an email this morning, and I learned something. I think it was back in the 80s, and so it's like you have to make this commitment to yourself. And the idea goes is, like, when you get up in the morning, you have to repeat to yourself, Lloyd, for things to change, I have to change. Lloyd, for things to get better, I have to get better. You can't keep making all these excuses about, you have to commit, to yourself that to move forward. You have to learn how to react to all the things you have to do and not let them burn up all your energy. So the more you can better yourself, the more you can deal with what life springs on you. It's basically all that's about. Yeah. So this business model focus is shifting from this idea of focusing on your solution and what you have, and now focusing on your business model instead of pitching your solution. You're pitching your business model is how you make money with your solution. So this is a key thing, is you have to spend time building the business model, and the solution is only like 10% of the whole process of making money. You got all these other things going on. So when you're pitching your product instead of your business model, you're not going to get the help you need to move forward. That's the bottom line there. Yeah. So the insight number 7 was this, access, not talent, is the real barrier. Access to all these networks, this funding, and so what I teach people with this is, when you're getting started, you leverage the ecosystem to as you develop your business model. The ecosystem has resources, and even we're not the only program out there that work with you at the idea stage. There's, everywhere I travel all over the world, they have programs that work with people at the idea stage. And in some cases, in a lot of cases, that you get free services, you get free software, you get, in our case, we give you a little bit of money, other places give you more money. Um, and so you at these early stages, you're not um, working in your startup full time. You're literally stress testing your business model and learning how to pitch your business model so you can get access to resources. I've seen people um, uh, get money as individuals to research their idea and turn it into a business. I've seen people leverage even like the Microsoft startup program to get money to form their company. I mean, you just have to get with the program and learn how to pitch your business idea. That's why we do the startup best practices every week to make you aware of these resources or out there, and you can leverage them till you get to the point where you got your product on the market and selling. So that could be a year or more that you have to leverage the ecosystem to get the funding and the resources that and the coaching that you need to move forward. You can sit there and wait for somebody to give you money and you don't even know how to explain to them how you're going to make money. That's a lost cause. You have to you have to learn how to pitch your complete business model so you can get people to help you. And so yeah, there's a definitely um, there's definitely a lack of access. But what's neat about the startup ecosystem is for your early stage to get your help to kind of formalize your idea and to develop your business model. You can get access to the tools and stuff that you need to do that. So my what I learned from my high school basketball coaches, there may be a bunch of excuses out there, and some things are real or whatever, but there may be excuses, but you shouldn't be using those excuses not to be creative and figure out how to be successful. All right, and insight number 8, and this is really real, and so there's this is what the situation is, and so a lot of Black founders, have financial insecurity. We all have these systemic barriers, and we all have these responsibilities to take care of parents, grandkids, whatever, yeah, and these networks are challenging. These barriers, but what I like about these early stage stuff to get to the point where you can build something, you have the startup ecosystem, and the ecosystem will help. Um, there are programs out there for Black founders, but a lot of the programs out there, they don't care what kind of what the founder are, and they, especially all these in-kind services. They have the rules to set up, and you don't, in most cases, you don't have to talk to anybody, to get access to free software, or like even like some of our partners like Coda.io, um, you know, you, all you have to let them know you in our program, and you get access to the tool to use to help you with your business. And a lot of programs are like that. The startup science has tons of opportunities like that in it. And so um, even though we have excuses, we don't need to make excuses. We need to take advantage of what we have. And so, like I said, like we the last 2 cohorts, we had slots for 10 people to pitch, and we only ended up with 4 people pitching last time, and that provided access to $1,000, just to help you with your business. And I participated in pitch competitions that gave more money than that, and there wasn't that many people that actually applied or to do it. But you don't apply because you don't think you can get it. But what I'm telling you, if you learn these best practices, take this business model design training, it's teaching you how to fill out the applications correctly so you can get the stuff. Every people are counting themselves out just because they've been faced with so many these systemic barriers in the past. But don't count yourself out. I've had people saying, "Well, I can't participate in your program because I don't have a check startup," and that's the furthest thing from the truth. But they count themselves out because they think they're not eligible. On an application, I say it's open to all Black founders, and then they see that I want to know which county they're from in Florida, but the last option is I'm not from Florida. So don't be making excuses not to participate. The stuff is there for you to kind of move forward. And yeah, so me as a founder, I stay in the doghouse all the time, for having to spend so much time working on my startup. It's definitely challenging. And so one of the reasons why we're here virtually is so you don't have to go anywhere. You can just right from your home, and you have access to people and ask questions to do it. Most programs don't give you, you have to be there in person, in order to kind of move forward. So yeah, I don't know what to say other than this capacity gap is real. We have all these life challenges, but we can't, it will hold us back, but we have to kind of prioritize and spend some time working on our businesses so we and learn these best practices so we can move forward. Yes, let's see here. So here's the kind of the best practices versus life challenges. So problem assessment. So the way we have the best practices for the problem discovery interviews, the job to be done framework, and even though so some of us have these challenges. And I hear about them and serious challenges, and so don't get me wrong, I do understand, and so we have to be aware when people are experiencing challenges. So this iteration and learning, this build, measure, learn loop. So that's what the best practice is. You keep doing experiments and getting feedback so you can learn to move forward. And so like, you may not have much time because you're working two jobs or whatever, but don't let these different attitudes about being pressured to be twice as good. Don't let all that stuff, it's there, but just do your best you can to get around it. And so we try to do that we know everybody needs community support to move forward. So we have over almost a dozen certified coaches. We have access to mentors, judges that are excellent at coaching founders. We have a founder opportunity database that, and our startup science has got all these opportunities in there. We curate a database for founders. We provide you with all the tools, through that in the lean stack and in the startup science, and all the tools that we created to make to kind of overcome some of these real life things that can help you move faster, leveraging the AI. Yeah. And this go to market stuff. Yeah. Yeah. We had a founder that we were trying to recruit into the program. So she was trying to get ready to go to market with her product or service, but the bottom line is if you don't know how to sell your product or service, and that's what our launch program teaches you how to do, how to get people to switch from what they're already using to what you're doing. But you need to know what they're already using and whatever in order to get them switch. Your innovation has to be 3x to 10x better. And so you learn all these things, and when you approaching a potential customer after you've been through this 90-day program, you can explain to the customer what's broken about the way they're doing, because you will understand the problem better than they do if you just take the time to learn this stuff. Um, so yeah, and so all these budget tech skills and things that sort of real life things that hold you back. That's why you leverage the startup ecosystem to get the tools at a substantial discount or free. And even now, what's so crazy is with the AI vibe coding tools, you can actually literally build a lot of stuff you need. Like even with like adaptive.ai, you can build a lot of the stuff you need and they only charge like $20 a month, and you can have several applications to do marketing stuff, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's the don't make excuses no matter what your situation is. Mindset. Uh, yeah, we try to teach you the best practices about the startup founder mindset, um, structure to reduce decision fatigue and build confidence. So the bottom line is we teach you the startup mindsets, that you need to have, and so when and there are still some real life challenges with that. And the business model focus, we got the one-page business plan, the lean canvas. We have the traction roadmap. You can do the pricing experiments and understand your unit economics. You can understand how many customers people you need to get in your sales funnel each month. And literally all this one tool here for the pricing experience, it takes less than 5 minutes to use the tool. And by not spending those 5 minutes and learning, what does it take to reach your goal, you literally could be out there a year or two working on something that's not viable. Yeah. So, access. And so with our startup founder best practices and lean stack and startup science and all these other programs, we try to close that knowledge gap. In essence, the startup, is the startup world is basically open source. You just have to realize it is, and you don't have to be paying for all this stuff that founders out there paying for, to kind of move forward. Yeah, and so life does still get in the way of that. Yeah, so we the good thing about our 30-day and 90-day programs, even though you have these life challenges, things get in the way, you still have access. When you apply, you get access to the tools. So when you got the time to set aside, you can actually use the tools. And people say, well, I went through the 30-day and they still have access to the tools, but they won't go in and use the tools to help them with whatever ideas they have. That doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely double damage here. So we try to close the knowledge gap with all the tools and the training available. There's literally, from the resources that we have, you shouldn't have any lack of knowledge about anything related to building a startup, because between the lean stack and the startup science, you literally got two people that created those tools that's been working with so many founders and tens of thousands of founders. And then you got the startup science. You got a guy that's went through 12 X's and everything he learned. So you can close your knowledge gap almost immediately, by working with us and with what we're doing. Now, this capacity thing, having the time, resources, and bandwidth to implement it. So we've streamlined almost everything you can think of leveraging AI. Yeah. So for example, the business idea prompt, is you explain what your business idea is and the industry. In less than 5 minutes, you've got a whole um, uh, if you just run the prompt straight using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever, if you don't put it in deep research in less than 5 minutes, you got a lot of business planning there. Then, but if you want to do the deep research, it may take 20 minutes to get that, and then you can dump that research in the Notebook LM and have it build a mind map to understand it, build a two-person podcast, all for free. You know, I mean, you know, you can get all this research done for free in a matter of minutes. So we're trying to streamline, and so all the stuff in our 30-day program, the Lean Stack program, you literally, the stuff you have to do to complete the program, over from this one business idea prompt, you have all the information in less than 30 minutes. So as you're going through the training, you have your example for your business idea, what you need to do, and then you can actually spend time doing the stress testing on your business idea as you're going through the training. Now, that's what we've done to make things easier for you, to kind of close both of these knowledge gap and capacity gap. And so basically, what this slide is basically saying, the programs out there, they have all these standardized things that, the knowledge transfer things, but what the results of what we've learned over the past 5 years, you have to, for Black founders and other founders, you have to wrap all that stuff around this life aware approach to realize what people are going through. And so that's why I say, once you get access to this stuff, if life gets in the way of you doing what you're supposed to do in the class, you always have that there. And the bottom line too is, anyone, once you say you want to get access to the material, you don't have to be in a cohort. You can do it at your own pace. You can take 6 months to do the 30-day training. You can take a year to do it. So we're literally making it available to you. So when you're ready, or when you want to learn, it's there for you to learn. And so that's kind of what our approach is. We call this Startup Founders Best Practice because we know that's what people wait, but we also know that people, life gets in the way of what we're doing. So we've been trying to do this holistic approach, and we're going to improve on that. We're giving you all these options to access the program. You don't just have access to it during the course. You have access to it year round. Yeah, and so we're going to implement more community stuff to help people moving forward. And take my word for it, we're going to leverage the AI to the tilt to make sure people can, you as a founder can move forward. So spread the word out there. I don't know what people are waiting on, what excuses they have, but we can help you with your capacity gap. We can help you with your knowledge gap, and that's what we are here for. Yep. So I'm definitely excited, and I appreciate all the so we're going to just keep your eyes open. Next week we're going to be celebrating our 5th anniversary. But this week I just wanted you to share with you some of the insights we've learned from working with founders, all of our coaches, and spending thousands of hours and working with the founders and stuff. And so yeah, we're here to help. And yeah, if you got any questions about any tools to kind of move forward, There's literally, there's, we've literally understand how to take all the excuses away, so hang in there, be resilient, be strong, and, and do this thing for this each morning when you get up. Lloyd, for things to change, I have to change. Lloyd, for things to get better, Lloyd has to get better. And just make that commitment to yourself to kind of move forward and get past all these life challenges. And we look forward to working with you in the future. Go to apply.kakuainstitute.org, take the, get access to the training to kind of move forward. Yeah. All right. Take care, and thank you, Evelyn, for participating, and look forward to working with you and your founders that you're working with as well. That's what we're here for. We're not making any excuses. We're moving forward, and thank you all, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.